You've tied up with Dubai Holding to set up this joint venture, Athea. Tell me what Athea is and what it's going to do.
So what we're doing here is taking Palantir's cutting AI technologies that we've deployed, everywhere from hospital operations to manufacturing floors to make operations of businesses and government better. We're taking those technologies and putting them together with Dubai Holdings' sort of unique expertise in the business of Dubai. Everything from, real estate and land development to hospitality, but also the culture and sort of the spirit and energy of this crazy rocket ship that is Dubai. So we're putting those things together, and the idea is we're going to use that as a platform to bring these technologies to the most critical industries and to government operations in Dubai, and really reach the sort of goals and promises everybody's making around AI transformation.
Okay, so you're a bit unusual here in this joint venture in that you've already got proof of concept because you've been working with Dubai Holding in the portfolio over the past 18 months. Tell me about that. How has it been used internally?
Sure. So, this is interesting. At Palantir, we're a strange beast. We don't like just announcing things and just doing stuff for stuff's sake. We like actually having an impact on the world. And so this joint venture sprung out of that idea. We didn't actually come into this thinking we would do a joint venture. We actually came in at Dubai Holdings looking at how do we make an impact on operations here? So starting to work about 18 months ago on sort of pretty prosaic problems like, hey, we want to know how our 53 Jumeirah hotels are doing every morning. So to do that, we have 60 people taking all the accounting from all these different hotels and putting it together and producing these reports. I'm like, okay, great. Can we take AI, use that instead to do all this work and free up those 60 people to work on how do we make these businesses better as opposed to doing just reporting? And so we did a whole host of things like that. Um, and in that, started building a relationship where we understood Dubai Holdings has these real ambition about taking these technologies and making these businesses better. And then what happened in the midst of this was, leadership in Dubai had this vision of let's take Nikhil and the other entities that really hold a large amount of the land bank of Dubai and bring them into Dubai Holdings. And normally, a process like that of sort of fusing huge holdings together might take something like 3 years. And leadership said, well, you guys don't have 3 years, you've got 6 months. And so they came to us and said, hey, can we do this? Can we use AI to do this better? And what we actually ended up doing was delivering on that in 6 weeks. So basically, within 6 weeks, we used AI to bring these holdings together so you can start making decisions around, hey, what's the totality of the land that we own? What are we developing ourselves? What are we going to do in partnerships? And so in taking that timeline down from like 3 years to 6 months to actually 6 weeks, we sort of realized that actually we have these technologies and this combination of Dubai Holdings and Palantir that's incredibly powerful in a place like Dubai. And that's what sort of born the idea of taking this and bringing it to the rest of Dubai.
How do you do that? How do you take it from one organization, one company, and move it to public entities, private entities, I don't know, maybe competitors in other sectors? How does that happen?
Sure. So I think the key here is when we're bringing these technologies to bear, they have a real impact at the core of a business or at the core of government, and that requires a lot of trust. So, when you are doing these things, you're bringing these technologies into the heart of your business or the heart of your government. And so, what we wanted to do here is create a trusted platform. So, the idea with Aether is that we take these cutting edge technologies, but we put them into Dubai in a way that people can trust. So that means doing it on sovereign infrastructure, making sure data never leaves the country, making sure that the people are working with inside of Aether are employed in Dubai, that we are bringing out a local ecosystem of talent and doing internships and working with universities and sort of making sure that this entity that we're building belongs to Dubai. And that we believe is sort of the fundamentals here that will let people trust that we're going to deploy these technologies in a safe way and in a way that's aligned with the culture and the values of the Emirates.
Okay, I want to dig into a couple of those things because certainly that is some of the promises that you have made with this joint venture. One being that it will be a secure and sovereign set of high impact AI applications. We're talking about the data here. How exactly do you do that?
Sure. So It's interesting. Palantir from the beginning has always been about building software and giving it to our customers for them to use on their data. So there exists a set of misconceptions that like there is one big Palantir that understands everything about the world, and that's just fundamentally not true and never has been. We work with our customers, we give them software, and they deploy it in ways that they trust and they control it. And what we're doing here is sort of taking that to the next level by saying, okay, we're going to localize all of this together with Dubai Holdings. We're going to their Dubai Holdings expertise, we're going to deploy this on infrastructure that exists in the country. So data stays in the country; it never leaves the country. Data is owned by the customers, whether that's the government or commercial entities. It's not owned by Palantir or Aether, for that matter, or Dubai Holdings. Um, it's owned by the customers here. And so there's a lot of technical answers to your question. So it's about really localizing things and making sure things stay in the country and respect all the laws and governance that's required to do these sensitive things. So we're making sure we're ticking all those boxes. And the interesting thing is we did this to work with Dubai Holdings. So to be able to do these things with at Dubai Holding, we had to clear all these boxes and get all the approvals and all these things. So now we're going to reuse that so that we have this trusted platform and we can bring it to bear to everybody in the Emirate.
Okay, you mentioned talent a moment ago as well. This joint venture promises to localize the economic value of your technologies. What do you see that talent development looking like on the ground? Are we talking about Emirati engineers, data sciences, locally created governance frameworks? What?
Yeah, so I think this technology has a lot of really interesting aspects to it. So one, it empowers workers to do more, right? So we're seeing this already on the factory floor in our work in the US, for example, where you have workers who are able to work with data, do things better on the ground, interact with complex sets of data in a way that they never could because they're not engineers, but they have a lot of subject matter expertise. And so what we want to do is empower people like that to have opinions and help make decisions in ways that were very difficult for them to do. I'll give you an example from a very different sphere. So in the hospital realm, and we work a lot with hospital operations. How do you run a hospital? And a lot of the knowledge about, sort of the order in which procedures should be done for it to be efficient, or which patient should be in which bed, is actually sits with the nurses. And the nurses are very rarely empowered to help make those decisions because they're maybe not technical, right? They're very good at their jobs, but they don't operate the computer systems. And so what we've done is paired the AI with the nurses and give them interfaces to be able to help make those kinds of decisions and apply their domain expertise. So in terms of talent, we think we'll be able to lift people sort of up by using these technologies. But the other piece is on the engineering talent side. It's much more important they have a smaller amount of very talented people working with these technologies. They can do so much. And we believe that, is really well suited to the Emirates because we believe with Emirati engineering talent and Emirati sort of data talent, we'll be able to do a lot with actually rather few people. And we want to give them the platform to be able to do that. So we're partnering with universities in the Emirates. We're partnering with different talent pools to be able to spot talent, give them the ability to come into this joint venture and work with these platforms, and ultimately work with the customers. The one last piece I would say is, if you look at AI right now, the sort of biggest growth in job postings is for something called forward deployed engineering. This is something that didn't exist outside of the Palantir universe. It's actually something we came up with 20 years ago because we had engineers sitting out at the customers building things. And now everybody's realized that that's actually the way to apply these technologies. And our hope is we'll be able to bring that model to Dubai, where we have Emirati engineering talent that is able to be, adapt and use these platforms inside of businesses and inside of the government to really transform how they operate.
Okay. While we are talking about fitting into, well, the national agenda, Athea is being linked to the Dubai Economic Agenda D33, targeting 100 billion dirhams a year from digital transformation. How do you see Athea doing that? Do you see that contributing directly or indirectly?
So I think there's two pieces. The natural thing to think about is efficiencies, right? So you apply these technologies and you just become better at doing what you need to do. So you become more efficient. Whether that's, taking planning permission processes down from several weeks to days, So then you can, get more permits out there and building gets faster. We do a lot of work with planning in complex projects, right? So if you're building the Palm or you're doing your next development, it's an incredibly complex orchestration, a ballet of different people and companies that need to do things. And if you can orchestrate that smarter and better, you can do it faster. So we think that there's efficiencies and acceleration in the rate at which sort of things can be done. And then, the really interesting part to me is besides that, what are the things that we're not doing today in Dubai that we could be doing, right? Whether that's fabrication and manufacturing using automation. And I'm really curious to see in Dubai, besides acceleration and efficiency, what are the kind of things around, let's say, manufacturing of high-end pharmaceuticals or chip fabrication or other kinds of stuff, businesses that we haven't actually seen exist before that can exist in Dubai with the help of AI?
So what kind of time frame are we talking for this joint venture? Firstly, how is it actually going to work? What are you going to do? And what is Dubai Holding going to do?
Sure. So this is now, the first customer of the joint venture is Dubai Holding itself. So we have a tremendous amount of work that we're doing with brands like Jumeirah and sort of across the portfolio. So that's great. So we're bootstrapping that. So there's already activity inside of this joint venture. We're in very advanced conversations with a whole set of both government and commercial entities in Dubai. I'd be shocked if we weren't up and running with those in the next couple of weeks. The interesting thing with this is we're taking these commercial proven technologies and bringing them to bear. So we deliver value in a very, very short period of time. We're talking about days to weeks. So don't want to be sitting here in 3 years and sort of be almost there and almost delivering. I think we'll be there actually in a set of weeks. And that's also because we're taking these proven technologies that we already have off the shelf and bringing them together with Dubai Holdings. So we're taking the expertise from Dubai Holdings. We're taking sort of the ability to make this sovereign and secure and safe, and that Dubai Holding gives us, and these proven technologies together. And we're going to be deploying very, very, very quickly.